YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. Forgot to switch my scene over, so apologize for that, but now we're back in. Back on Total War Rome 2, we're gonna jump into an online battle. I ran into a Mr. Ruthless Toothless who said that he likes to watch my videos, is very polite, so it's excited to play a match with him. He picked Carthage, so I picked Egypt, so we could kind of have some more middle-of-the-road factions play against each other. The map is Gadira, and it's kind of an odd map. It's got a lot of terrain right here in the center. This is, generally speaking, a map where I personally like to bring some Roman raffle stomping on here if someone's trying to go barbarian, just because all these woods and hills actually really end up helping the barbarian player. And to be quite honest, this map isn't really fair. The side that I start on gets what I feel like is a pretty nice advantage. You have to charge straight up this hill and into who knows what, because this blocks a lot of your line of sight if you start on the bottom. I mean, you do have a bit of a high ground here and some woods to skirmish from, but in general, I feel like it definitely gives the player who starts on this side a bit of an advantage. So I've got 4 thorax swords, 2 royal peltist, 1 Ptolemaic cav, 3 citizen cav, 2 Levi Thurio spears, and Egyptian infantry just because I needed to spend my money, and 4 Nubian bows, and they are protected by 2 Egyptian pikemen who the auto move order is already screwed up. But I'm going to use them to protect the bows in the center so that they can do some work. Nubian bows don't do a ton of damage, but they have nice range. I wouldn't say they're cheap for what you get out of them, but they're okay. So my opponent already saw a couple mercenary Iberians to support the flanks, kind of like that idea. And he doesn't have very strong cavalry, so he probably intends for them to help mow down cavalry to help himself out. He does have an African elephant unit I've seen. I've seen some Libyan infantries, and then there's 2 mercenary noble fighters here. And I think he has 4 Gallic warriors as well. So he's got a lot of swords, a couple hoplites, but his cavalry is going to suffer because he's brought like a combination elephant and infantry rush. So he's kind of sold all into the rush, and I actually have some skirmishers that are going to be pretty dangerous to him. So I'm going to move up, get my skirmishers in position. Got this little bottleneck in between the 2 hills where my men can fight, and then I've got these high grounds to either side that will be nice defensive positions. And I'll just kind of line the pikes up right here. And my opponent obviously is sitting back trying to hope for a good time to rush, because he's gone all rush. And probably when he saw a lot of my skirmishers and pikes, he wasn't real thrilled about having to rush at it. But you have to when you bring the rush, or else the enemy's just going to sit back and pepper you, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to target his noble fighters. They don't have the best block chance. And then over here, he's going to begin an engagement on the flank. I have Levi Thurio spears up here on top of the hill. They're going to open fire on his Iberian swords and his Celtic light horse, which takes a pretty bad beating there. Now the Iberian swords have a ton of javelins to return of their own, but what I want to do is charge them before they can really use them. So I'm going to bring my citizen cavalry in, try and hit the Iberian swords. I will get that one before it throws its javelins, so that'll be alright. And he's got 2 Celtic light horse over here. In prolonged, well, 1 Celtic light horse. In prolonged combat, the Celtic light horse won't do that bad versus the citizen cavalry. They're really, really bad. My royal peltist are on this flank. At very first, I think I have their fire at will on, but I go ahead and turn it off because with the elephants around, I'm going to need to save javelins. Same thing with this Thurio spear. I'm continuing to pepper this 1 noble fighter so that I can make it combat ineffective. This other noble fighter, I don't know if he just isn't worried about my pikes, but he just charges straight into him. They're not very thick, so I mean he might be able to beat him. I'm going to charge these mercenary Gallic warriors. They'll win the charge, but they should lose the fight pretty convincingly to the thorax swords. One of the few units that thorax swords can beat. He does go straight into pikes over here. Don't really know that my pikes will get a ton of kills, I don't think. I'm going to pin his Gallic warriors, and out here I've got my royal peltist engaging these mercenary Iberian swords. The Iberian swords will get beaten badly. He's going to charge with the Iberian cav here into my general. I mean, might as well, but he won't get really much from that. My guys are weak to cavalry, but not to cavalry that's that light. I'm going to bowl through this late Libyan hoplite and get my Ptolemaic cav into the background. Over here, my opponent actually, with the help of these regrouped Iberian swords, has hurt my cavalry and my guys pretty badly there, so he's doing good. But the loss of this mercenary noble fighter is going to be pretty brutal. It was down to 40 men before it ever got into combat. This noble fighter's lost 9 men, but it is killing the pike unit. You can see it's kind of gotten them engaged. My pike unit wasn't very, well positioned, and it's going to take a lot of losses. Ptolemaic cav comes over here so we can finish off this blob. Basically now I can bring my cavalry and these units back to the center, where I just need to keep my archers alive. I do see an inbound Iberian cavalry, so I go ahead and pepper it with a few arrows. And then I'm trying to position the Egyptian infantry. I should have given an attack order on the Egyptian infantry, and it would have stopped them. These guys actually do get into combat, this Iberian cav, and they're pretty decent against soft targets like these Nubians. So they're going to actually get quite a few kills here because they have 50 attack and 39 damage. So even with just a few of them, that's what they're made for, is hunting down skirmishers. They're pretty good at it. If you can get them in there without taking fire, they will wreck skirmishers with pretty good efficiency. Now as elephants start to come up, I position my Levy Thurio spears to get some shots. They run amok, and they're going to charge straight at my Levy Thurios, and when I see that, I pull up these Royal Peltists and give them an attack order on the elephant with their javelins, so that we can basically ruin the elephant while it's running amok. I'm going to block this noble fighter with the with the Egyptian infantry, but now very nicely here, he brings his swords in, gets his general free from my Ptolemaic cav, and he's going to charge into my Nubian bowmen. So this is going to be a nice move for him, and he's going to start killing a lot of my Nubians before they run out of ammo, and I really don't want that. I mean, I feel pretty good about the battle, but still don't want it. So Royal Peltists can be very dangerous to elephants. They have 5 javelins. They're very expensive, but still they can be a big deterrent to elephants. And while his elephants run amok on these Levy Thurio spears, they're getting wrecked by javelins. So pretty much neutralize the elephants, but I certainly don't want to lose all my archers in case those guys do survive to late game. I have one pike unit that's still alive. His Gallic warriors have kind of disengaged here. He's got a Libyan infantry, and his mercenary noble fighter has torn through the Egyptian infantry, big surprise. His general has just been a real big pest here, and he's done a good job with them, getting in here and just killing a ton of Nubian bowmen. I think he had almost 100 kills on his general before this was all said and done. So that general, even being chased, he got the job done. Yeah, 105 kills. And they were important kills. I mean, no one wants to see archers alive to the late game, so nice job there to Mr. Toothless. He's going to charge the back of my pikes with his noble fighters because I have his guys sandwiched. I should have turned the pikes around. I may turn them around here in a second, but I've got a Ptolemaic cav charge coming in from behind. He doesn't have any support units left. It'll be a decent charge into these noble fighters, going to bowl some of them down. And then I'll just cycle out, and I'm going to go hit this Libyan infantry who's over here in shield wall, actually tanking out a lot of damage. It's got 3 units on it. My archers survived, and they can now pepper this Libyan infantry as it tries to come back into the battle. So that's going to be good for me, and now my Royal Peltists are free. His elephants survived. I don't know if he knows that they survived him. Look at my Levy Thurio spears. They're just sitting here like, come on, elephant. They must be out of javelins because they're not firing. They're like act like they're in the animation, but they're really not. Let's go into the cavalry camera here. There we go. Watch these guys charge into the back of the noble fighters. Try and get a better view. There we go. Yeah, so these noble fighters are doomed. Here comes the Royal Peltist up and over the hill with the sun at their back. Pretty cool looking, to be honest. Royal Peltists are pretty underwhelming for the most part, but they can be pretty good in the right scenario. And they look cool. You got to give them the looks thing. They definitely have that going for them. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this battle. Appreciate Mr. Toothless playing the game with me, and I appreciate him watching the videos. It's nice to run into polite people in matches. Hope you had fun. I enjoyed playing the game. It's nice to not have someone just pick Rome and spam Evocati or something like that. That is not the reaction every time someone plays me, but you'd be surprised how common it is when someone's like, oh, it's HeirofCarthage. Enter tryhard mode. I don't mind if people beat me and you play a tough game, but I certainly just don't like the Evocati spam. It's not high on my list of things that I enjoy. Or I say that, veteran legionary spam is really what it turned into. Let's look at his army. This mercenary noble fighter got a lot of kills. Unfortunately for him, a lot of them were Egyptian infantry, so neither one of these guys got many kills, and his elephants were also fairly neutralized. That was Thurio spears that they got a lot of their kills on. And basically, he had kind of sold all into this, which, I mean, with Carthage, you kind of have to. You have to sell into some type of gimmicky army, and I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just very risky with this one because his cavalry is so limited, and so many of these units are vulnerable to skirmishers. I like the Iberian sword support, though. I do. It's not a bad idea. And if you look on my side, Royal Peltists get a lot of kills, but I mean, for how many men died, but it was a lot of cheaper units, so nothing real special there. The Ptolemaic cav helped turn a lot of battles for me. And then the archers did some important kills on the noble fighters, allowing my thorax swords to not get destroyed. Hope y'all enjoyed this one. Heir of Carthage, signing off for now. I'll be back with more online battles soon.